This week's episode of Seasonal Discussions is sponsored by Stellar Blue Accounting Services. Running a business is tough, and when your numbers don't make sense, it's even tougher. That's why Stellar Blue was created to offer flexible, fractional accounting support that helps business owners sleep better at night. Whether you need a finance manager, management accountant, bookkeeper, or hands-on support, Stellar Blue is here when you need them, without the cost of a full-time member of staff, and can give you clarity, better processes, and the confidence to make smarter decisions. See the link below this video for Stellar Blue's business details to book a free consultation.
Opportunity came up in 2016 to buy an events company, so I did. Because I didn't have anything to do on a weekend. Left home to go to university when I was 18, landed up in North Yorkshire, academic hotspot. We bought a massive stock. So immediately we could, work on events that are 1,000 people plus.
You're a Newcastle fan, eh?
No.
Not. Okay, I'm just checking. I'm a Sunderland fan.
20 years with the same limited company. That's actually quite a thing.
That's pretty impressive. Hello, we're back. It's another episode of Seasonal Discussions. It's still me. I still look stupid. I do apologise. The hair will be a real colour eventually. If you're new to the content, don't forget to click like, follow, subscribe, blah, 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 all the usual stuff for us. But again, focus isn't on us, focus is on our glamorous guests. I think you're the first double-barreled surname we've had.
Oh.
So you are like literally the epitome of glamour for us.
I can't tell you why, but anyhow.
We'll skip past that.
Not an inherited name.
No, okay. Well, it's Jill from Marvell Events. But events isn't just your only thing, is it, Jill?
It isn't, no. So by training, I'm actually an environmental and safety engineer. So until about 10 years ago, that's pretty much all I did.
Yeah.
I've always obviously had a creative streak. And I started actually doing technical events in 2011, 2012 around environmental management in the oil and gas industry. And then an opportunity came up in 2016 to buy an events company. So I did. Because I didn't have anything to do on a weekend.
Like, I have free time.
5 days when you can work 7.
Exactly. Why would you give yourself time off and a social life outside of it?
Ridiculous. So I bought it with a friend who turned out to be a business partner. And the rest is history.
So how long ago was that?
So that was 2016.
2016. And you've been an environmental engineer for how long?
Since I left university.
God. And was it Strathclyde University you went to?
For my master's, I did
your master's
marine technology at Strathclyde in 1998.
You have been all over the UK then, as it seems, from where you start to where you study to where you work to where your events are based. Give us a little bit of a background on sort of your geographical journey, as it were.
Okay. Well, it is mostly to the north of the UK. So I was born in South Shields, which obviously is on the south bank of the Tyne. Left home to go to university when I was 18, landed up in North Yorkshire, academic hotspot.
Yes, the thriving educational hotspot.
No, to be fair. So I went to a university college in Scarborough and I didn't do very well in my A-levels, and that was my second choice, but actually it was the best choice for me because I did marine biology as a bachelor's degree. So I was right on the beach every single day. Yeah. It was just the most amazing experience. But then, of course, like my mum said, what the heck do you do with a marine biology degree?
But I haven't thought that far ahead yet.
No. So, any case, this opportunity came up to go to Strathclyde to study marine technology, which is, not that dissimilar. And at the time, there was quite a lot of funding around, in retrospect, particularly for female people from science backgrounds to continue their STEM education. So I went to Strathclyde for a year, decided that I loved it. Moved to Glasgow University to do a PhD. Didn't stay there for that long, so I moved back to Newcastle University and I did a Brian May. I now have a PhD sitting in the ether for decades.
It's just there.
It's there. It's only a couple of chapters away, so I was thinking I'll beat Brian and do it before my 50th.
Good time.
Time is running out.
Yeah, but you still have it there.
I still have it there on floppy disk.
Here's what I was looking at. I look at alternative storage options for external hard drives and stuff, and there was actually a brand selling external hard drives that look like floppy disks. And I was so tempted to buy. I would probably never use it, but I showed it to my son, who's 19, and he looked at it and went, "What's that?"
Well, similarly, my son is like, "What is that box of things?"
Why are they all? What do they do? They don't fit in a DVD player anymore. So that took you. So that was
So that was Newcastle University. I had to leave, obviously, when my money ran out and got a job. So I did bits and pieces of temping before I got my first oil and gas job in 2003.
Yeah.
And that was how come I ended up in Aberdeen.
So you've been here since 2003.
3.
23 years this year. What did you do in a previous life? Why have you been punished with being stuck up here? I'm kidding. I like Aberdeen.
The biggest thing for me was when I came up for an interview and I was by myself and I said to the taxi driver, "Oh, take me where's Bar Street?
Yeah.
Take me where all the nightlife is." "Oh, I'll take you to the beach. It's amazing." And I'm like, "Okay, that sounds cool." And he dropped me off at the beach with a cinema and restaurants. Yeah. Whoa. I was thinking of, Newcastle.
Yeah, nightlife. Something decent.
Stuff. So that was a bit of a change, but
Cine World and a Frankie and Benny's instead.
I know now that really isn't where he should have dropped us off.
Yeah.
And obviously as a single person in my mid-20s, I had a great time.
Can imagine. I mean, at least, at that point in time, the beach still had something. The beach has got very little to it now with all the restaurants closing down. Yes, Cadonas is still there, the cinema's still there, but there's so little down there available now. It used to be somewhere we could at least go and spend a little bit of time as an adult. Now it seems to be you've got to be younger to enjoy going down and spending time there.
Well, I do like the Turkish.
Yeah. I haven't been to it yet.
Oh.
It's been there for a while. There's 2 of them now.
So upstairs from the Turkish, I think it's Italian and Spanish.
Oh.
It's the same guy.
Oh,
so if he does a cut and paste of the Turkish,
it'll
be brilliant. Yeah.
I do like food, I must admit. See, that this, obviously we're recording this now and Aberdeen Restaurant Week's just finished recently. And it's the one thing that I keep saying I want to be a creator for, is I just want to go out and try all these different restaurants and try food. I cannot help myself. So from that first job up here, what was your journey like from that point to end up to where you are now?
Really quite kind of cookie cutter, as you would expect with somebody from my qualifications. I moved up into different companies, into different ranks, got promoted readily, which suggests that I was doing a good job. I suppose the turning point was after maybe 4 or 5 years. So at that point, I'd worked in consultancy and for a drilling contractor. Well, also an operator in drilling contractor. And then I moved into a sort of day rate type of role with an engineering contractor. And that for me personally was, it was quite a big step to take when you were 29.
Yeah.
Awful lot of money for a 29-year-old, of course, as well. And that was, I think, in retrospect, the happiest time that I've been at work. So I was at that engineering contractor for 5 years and in charge of everything environmental globally, actually. So was able to do quite a lot of cool travelling, places that you would not go now.
Yeah.
And then had a family and everything changes.
So you say that was the happiest time work-wise, but I'd imagine now with the event side of things, it prevents a whole different level of enjoyment in what you do. Because putting on events, organising events, planning things, working through, there's a creative part of your brain that must really get to when you go, now I can express myself. Now I can really put what I love doing into practice.
Yeah, and I have to say, I never really thought about it as a kind of juxtaposition between being an environmental person and being a undercover creative, because I spent quite a lot of time in business development type of roles, because I was like in charge of a team. So I was always having to be creative to develop new products or services. So I never felt that was necessarily like repressed or anything. But yeah, it's a completely different vibe. And what I would say is, having been stuck on, camps in North Africa with hundreds of men who don't speak the same language, there is still nothing more stressful than an event.
When you got into it, was there a particular type of event that you thought, this is what I want to do? Or was it very much just the shotgun approach of, we'll try anything once and see where it goes?
No, we were very much focused on corporate events.
Yeah.
So the company that we inherited did a fair amount of weddings. And as I say, this is 10 years ago. The market looks completely different now. But at the time, the company that we took over really was the leading company in Aberdeen, I would say. Quite focused on weddings. She did do some corporate stuff, but also they did a lot of kids' parties, like dressed up. Okay. I flat refused.
I can't see you doing that just now.
No. So we quickly sold off that mascot side of the business. And because of mine and my then business partner's background in corporate, we thought that corporate was the way to go, not least because there wasn't a great deal of services available for that side of things. And we bought a massive stock. So immediately we could, work on events that were 1,000 people plus. Things that used to happen at the old exhibitions as it was then.
I miss the old exhibition centre. I do like P&J. Yeah, it is nice. Oh, sorry, P&J Live, Tekka, whatever we're calling it, the multiple different names that people go, Waste of Money, which is a name I really don't apply because it's a good venue.
Absolutely fabulous event space. And engineering-wise, behind the scenes, the technical part of the lighting and everything is just off the scale amazing.
Yeah,
and if Aberdeen is to really, level up, then that really is where it needs to be playing.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing for Aberdeen is creative development and creative spaces being available. I mean, yes, obviously Aberdeen is, and we've spoken about it multiple times on this show, it's energy based, but there needs to be a plan B. There needs to be an alternative to the energy. There has to be something else. And I think the other corporate aspect or the other events aspect, the other creative sector is something that Aberdeen needs to explore a little bit more. So having spaces like P&J, Tekka, call it what you will, it's a huge thing for the city as a whole. How did you find, obviously from putting events on at the exhibition centre, the old school one, to putting on events at the new thing, how big a difference did you feel as an event organiser between those two venues?
For what we do, I can't really see a huge difference. So I have done this environmental conference, as I was saying before, 2012. So the first year that Tekka opened in 2019, I actually held my conference there.
Okay.
I don't have that similar experience at
the old one. Yeah.
We would go in, put some table centres on, cover thousands of chairs,
go
in the middle of the night and take them off. So I didn't have that relationship with people or have the necessity to understand the tech behind it. But I do now.
Yeah, it's what baffles me is how much people don't realise is available at P&J Live. A lot of people have been there for gigs, they'll have been there for comedy shows, they'll be there for Comic-Con that's going on this weekend. But there's so many alternative uses for the space up there. Yeah. There's so many different rooms available, there's so many different event spaces. It's a massive space that just doesn't get the recognition that it really should.
No, there's absolutely something for everybody. But you have to understand that you if you put an event on there, you are playing in a different league altogether. But you get what you pay for.
Yeah, there's going to be there's a few events happening up there this year. Let's see, Comic-Con's this weekend, and there was another one coming in June later this year that we're going to be a part of as well. But the announcement hasn't been made yet, so I'm keeping it spoiler-free until they've made the announcement, then we'll tell everyone else about it. So what led to, obviously you went into it originally with the corporate side of things being kind of the big sales point, but it's not all that you do now. So how much has the company sort of expanded and diversified itself events-wise since you took over?
I would say it was more of a focus rather than an expansion or a diversification.
Okay.
So we do much less weddings now. And those that we do are more design-led, something that I've got something different about them rather than a kind of transactional, I want 10 of them and 10 of them.
Yeah.
That isn't the kind of weddings that we do. So if somebody's got an idea that's a little bit different, so for example, I have one next month where one half of the couple is Italian.
Okay.
So they want, a kind of blue and yellow, so lots of lemons. The reception space will feel like an Italian lemon grove.
Like that.
And so that is, a whole different level of design and installation and forestry than what you would get if you were more of a transactional prop hire company.
As opposed to just being like, yes, we'll put centerpieces, we'll put tablecloths, we'll put chair covers. Do you find that must be a lot more rewarding being that?
It is.
Yeah, that much more involved with a couple putting on these kind of events.
And it is very niche.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. We don't do weddings every single weekend. But the focus has been to really, look at, just go back to business strategy, good old-fashioned strategy of, where is the gaps? What are your competitors doing?
Yeah.
What skills do you have that other people don't? What access to networks do you have that other people don't? And trying to, position yourself.
Yeah.
So that has been painful in the sense that you've really got to have a lot of confidence in your own ideas and ability to stay in that lane that you've defined for yourself and really dig it out.
Yeah. We'll hollow out a trench that is yours.
Yes.
I think it's the issue that a lot of new businesses find is that initial direction. And again, we've struggled with it ourselves when we were setting up. It was, we do this, we do this, we do that, we do this. Whereas now, after we're almost a year old, we will be a year old by the time this goes out, we know what we're doing. And it's like, this is ours. This is what we do. We might not do it better than some other brands that charge more or charge this or have this kind of space, but God, we're good at it.
And it comes back to you attract the right kind of people when you do that.
Yeah.
I'm not for everybody. You're not for everybody.
Yeah.
Nor should you be.
Exactly.
I was having a conversation at a recent wedding exhibition I was at, and the photographer in the exhibition space just opposite me had a shirt with dinosaurs on. I do love dinosaurs. But I can totally imagine that a lot of people who don't like dinosaurs would have been, why are you wearing a dinosaur shirt?
Yeah.
For me, I was like, cool. I won't cook you just because you're wearing that shirt.
Yeah. Something that stands out as unique and individual to that
Gives me
person.
an idea of the person's personality.
Yeah. Something that you can literally visually attach something to, going, I know what you're like.
Yeah.
We met a guy, Mark Thulis from Flux recently.
Yeah.
Amazing individual. And someone who, again, just so different when you meet him. Can remember the Hawaiian shirt on, messenger bag that was still something superhero related, loves comic books. And straight away, I'm like, business?
You've got a connection immediately.
Yeah, it's like, who are you and what do you do? Because people connect with people. And you must find that a lot in the event side of things as well. It's you, people aren't so much connecting with the brands, they're connecting with you and what you bring to the table a bit more.
Yeah, totally. And obviously that's why I'm doing an awful lot of personal, it's difficult to put yourself out there, but at the end of the day, when you're self-employed, you are your business and you are your brand. And so I've had to, as well as digging in my niche, dig deep inside myself and really just get a handle on it and get after it because,
Have you gone through a bit of a sort of self-discovery journey over the self-employment side of things compared to being in full-time employment? Do you think you've found yourself a little bit more in the journey of finding the business brand as well?
I mean, ultimately, I've been self-employed since I was in my late 20s in various guises, but not the same.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of training behind the scenes. I've done a lot of coaching. So, it just really comes down to having the confidence in yourself. And I don't mean knowing that you're right to the exclusion of everybody else who might also be right, but just having faith in yourself and actually just to be brave.
Yeah, having that confidence to go and do it.
If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. You just try something else.
Yeah, business ownership, especially small business ownership, when you take something on, is very much about having that confidence to try.
Yeah.
Do something. Like we're firm promoters of, if you have an idea, do the idea. If the idea doesn't work, cool. You haven't lost anything, but you've probably learned what to do for the next time. And I'd imagine for the event side of things, there must be a lot of learning from every single event of, okay, we've done this time, that didn't work, so let's try something different for the next time.
I mean, certainly in the nuts and bolts, you kind of get to a point of where you've seen, everything that can possibly go wrong.
Yes.
So you think. What always surprises me is what people like and what they don't like. You might, everything that we do, we kind of make from scratch in our studio. We'll make something and I'll think, oh, that is epic. People are like, nah. And you'll, spend no time doing something that you think is just fair to middling.
Yeah.
Everybody loves it. You can never, ever second guess what people will go for.
No, exactly. And like you said, that's the whole point of just make everything. It will appeal to someone at some point.
Exactly.
I can't help but just making difference. This is why we do so many different things in here and have so many different people come in, because everyone has a different story to tell. And again, through the event side, you must find that a lot of that is you're trying to tell the organizer story, the event host's story. Like, what do they want to get from this event? What is the point? What is the thing they want to put across? What is the point of this event? It's storytelling.
So this is what I've massively leaned into in the last sort of year to 18 months, that, historically, you have events have been built and they will come. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
Post-COVID, it's very difficult to get people out of the house and difficult to get people apart with the money.
Yeah.
So you can't just do what you did before. We do a lot of charity dinner dances, for example. They have to keep evolving and moving forward. But the key to it all is, what is your objective? You have to have a firm objective.
Yeah.
So somebody who we're working with at the moment wanted to do a charity event. And I said, well, is this charity event a celebration of the life of the person who is kind of in memorial, or is it a fundraising event? Because those two things are massively different. And we came to the conclusion that it started out as a charity event, which would lead you to think it was about fundraising, but actually it wasn't. It was more of a celebration of life.
Yeah.
So that's a totally different approach, but absolutely down to the storytelling, the immersive feel of it. And it isn't just a centerpiece plonked in the middle of the room. It has to be all-encompassing. You have to feel the environment.
Yeah.
And this is when Tekke comes into its own. So there's nowhere else in the city that can give you that full atmospheric feel. Mostly it comes from the lights.
Yeah.
So as an example, we did a winter wonderland in December just past. So the lights came on and then they put the haze on. And we had really tall, sort of 2-3 meter tall twigs on the table. And the haze sat just below the top of the twigs. So it looked like a winter's morning.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, everybody came in, they were like, oh, phenomenal.
Like, don't breathe in too much, I'll get rid of the haze.
Yeah. But of course, as soon as the haze passed it,
Yeah.
it was just, I mean, it was breathtaking.
Yeah.
There's just no other word for it. And you walked in there and you were in no doubt that that was a winter wonderland. So that's what we need to be about. Understanding what the person's objective is, telling a story, getting people to be a part of it. Because the other thing is, if you've parted with money to attend an event, you actually need to feel that your presence is valued as well, rather than just another bum on a seat. And people do feel more valued by the amount of effort that the host has made.
Yeah.
And I think event organisers also have to be mindful that they are actually hosting an event, and whilst it isn't in their house, you are hosting it. You have invited people to come into your space, and they have given up their time.
Yeah. Especially if it's a themed style thing, it has to be something that is immersive, as you say. It's got to be something where it doesn't feel like you've just rocked up. There's food there, there's a bar over there might be an act or entertainment of some sort. It has to be an experience. And I think big events, for me anyway, I find with longer event, if it's an event that's an hour long or an hour and a half, maybe not so much. But when it comes to those things that are like 6 hours or an all-day thing or a weekend style thing, it's about creating moments. It's not necessarily about, especially if it's an all-day thing, people aren't going to be at the peak of their energy for the entire day. There has to be those moments that stand out. So when they come in, what's their reaction? When an artist is coming on stage or an act is coming on stage, what's the reaction that goes with that? And I can't imagine how stressful it would be planning out things that are longer or full-length days. That would drive me around the bend.
It's a lot. Yeah. And the thing is, when you're in the moment and something goes wrong, sometimes there is nothing you can do.
Yeah.
It's literally only 18 months to 2 years that I haven't been physically sick before every big event, like that level of anxiety. Yeah. I don't know if it's age or experience, but so I mean, just as an example, my own environmental conference, I always used to have a guest speaker, and I told this person, celebrity, guest speaker, I told this person to get the early flight from London. They said it would be fine if they got a later one. Of course it wasn't.
Yeah.
So they were late. So the slot that they had before lunchtime is now vacant because they're not here. They pitch up for the afternoon slot, which is the graveyard slot, the one straight after lunch. Not great. And then they come with a Apple Mac instead of the computer that matches what everybody else uses. Like, all the slides are jumbled up. But in that moment, your whole day is actually not ruined because you can always pull it back. But I then can't deliver the event that I had planned.
Everything's out of whack.
There's nothing at all you can do about it apart from reorganise your day. And, everybody knew that had happened because they could see from their agenda. Yeah. Did it affect their experience? I don't know. It affected mine. But yeah, I mean, it is just horror, just utter horror when you've got a room of hundreds of people who've paid for you to deliver them experience A. and you can't.
Yeah, all of a sudden, before you know it, you're on to experience C and D, but you're like...
Well, in events, we always get out of Z.
Yeah. You work your way through everything before you're like, I've run out.
Once one thing goes wrong,
yeah,
things snowball rapidly.
Well, especially if it's someone who's got like a specific time slot. As an example for it, when you're using that, it's if they're not there, that then impacts what comes next.
Yes, exactly.
And if there was something that was due to come next, can that be moved earlier? Can we just swap? It's just everything rolls downhill from that point.
And as I say, the order of things is in such a way for very good reason.
Yeah.
Because after 1 o'clock, when people have had a nice lunch, they don't want to be listening to an hour of a keynote. That's not when keynotes work.
No, I can't imagine everyone having to listen to an hour-long keynote on a full stomach. That's a lot of shut eyes in the room at that point.
and I've paid thousands and thousands of pounds for said keynote.
Yeah, exactly. I think it must be doubly frustrating when it's someone, especially if you've said, look, this is the best way to do it, and they decide to completely ignore your advice and expertise on the subject and do it their own way. Does that make it any easier for you at least to handle them when things do go wrong? Be like, look, I told you. If you had just followed...
I told you so. But it won't ever happen again.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. It never happened in the 10 years before.
Yeah. And it won't happen again after. You have to have those firm sort of boundaries to yourself of like, it's not like a 3 strikes and you're out, but it's we've tried this, you let us down once, it's not going to happen again.
No.
Very easy to clear out. Do you have a preference over bigger events or smaller events? Like, is there anything where you feel your time is where you really excel? Like smaller type of events, bigger ones? How?
Yeah. So from a kind of design perspective, our niche is certainly big events.
Yeah.
So over 500. Well, and then I suppose if over 500, I'm not suggesting that all our work is at Tekka, but certainly over 250 then for sure. Over 500, then we are getting very niche. The biggest event that we do is the Aberdeen Player of the Year. That's over 1,100. And I think last year that was the biggest plated dinner in Scotland. Just for context, we just do the chair covers. But that's still an awful lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
And an awful lot of chairs. So I think that space is where we work really well, because that's when you've got to be really into event design and event planning territory rather than fiddling on with, is that leaf right in the centerpiece? You've got to be boom, boom, boom. Everything's got to be absolutely on point, planned within an inch of its life, because it simply doesn't come off otherwise. The
reason I ask is obviously you did a little design sort of booth for our landlord within the building for Stellar Blue, for that sort of thing. Do you enjoy getting those little niche little opportunities to just be like, this is a chance for me to just sort of play and have some fun?
So that's one side of it, the at scale things, which does need the same, that's the immersive part of that.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that, around where we have found our niche is around like brand activation. So I suppose this comes from a corporate experience, and I also was bored during COVID, so I did a qualification in business strategy. All of that about being self-employed, about business, about marketing, about sales, business development, that's really the brand activation manifestation of all of that. And Sarah's a perfect example of somebody who gets it and wants to understand what that looks like. So she's very, I guess, a left brain kind of person. Oh,
she is. For an accountant, she's just not what you imagine from an accountant. We had her on. She's done her episode. That'll be out a week or two before this one. And to sit and talk to her, you wouldn't think what she does is an accounting service.
No.
She's such a creative person, as displayed by her book, Ruby the Lovable Labrador. Admittedly, a lot of her episode when she came on was just talking to Ruby. But Ruby was sat on the sofa as well, just chilling out in the background. Oh, I didn't know if I'd known. Yeah, we love dogs in this office. We have a dog. We have a chug called Derek, a Chihuahua pug. Yeah, he is 8 years old this year and is an absolute nightmare. The blankets and everything that were in this office were for him, but he's decided to... What kind of dog have you?
I've got 2 Boston Terriers.
Yeah, see, we could have just done the episode with them. I don't know. This is the
dog. I had a photo shoot with them.
Have you? Were you a specific photographer you used up here for it, or was it just a?
Yeah, actually somebody who you've had on, Iska.
Oh, Iska, one of my favourite human beings in the creative sector in Aberdeen.
Yeah, so I used Iska for probably the last 5-6 years for all my personal brand photography.
Is she a retainer, for
I
yourselves?
was on a retainer. I'm not now.
Okay, that's fair. Well, away from, obviously, the business side is a massive thing. We want to know a bit more about you. So when you're not working 7 days a week, have you invented an extra day that we get to fit in some social time?
I say 24 hours in a day.
Very true. We focus a lot on, what do people do outside of the business? What's the work-life balance like? So when you're not stuck in the stress mode of organising events or planning events or doing your own normal day job, what does a normal relaxation sort of session look like for you? Have you got an activity that you like to do to chill out and just put your feet down? Or?
I could say I like to walk my dogs, which I do.
Yeah.
Realistically, I just simply don't have an awful lot of space. Yeah. I had a weekend off just past. Did quite a lot of housework. I like watching football. I like going to football. But obviously the distance from the team that I support to Aberdeen is a bit prohibitive if I've got to be at work Friday and a Monday. That's pretty much it.
You're a Newcastle fan, are you?
No, I am not.
Okay, I'm just checking. I'm a Sunderland fan, though. I'm just checking. I have to ask. You never know.
I'm certainly not.
No. Is it Sunderland?
It is.
It is Sunderland. Okay, just checking. Look, as an Ipswich Town fan, I'm saying nothing. You talk about distance to travel to get down to go to a game. I got very lucky in that Ipswich played a pre-season friendly up here at Pittodrie this year. It was the first time I was ever able to go to a game and only travel half an hour from the house to go to work. I walked into the away stand at Pittodrie and the security guards were going, "Oh, must have been a fair travel for you to come up." I was like, "I might have to come down from Garthdee." The look of shock on his face that an Ipswich fan was based in Aberdeen. He went, "What?" Do you get a chance to go to Pittodrie much for games up here?
I could.
Yeah. Just, again, time.
My heart isn't in Aberdeen
Fair.
Football Club. I mean, it's just not. And I spend an awful lot of time lecturing people that they should support local, get themselves along with Aberdeen instead of supporting Man United. Because where I'm from, I mean, the town that I'm from is 50-50 Manchester, Newcastle, Sunderland. So my mother now lives in Sunderland. So every single person in Sunderland supports Sunderland.
Yeah.
There's just no other option for you. So I struggle with the idea of here where a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
And, Sunderland's not a wealthy place. I think it's something like 42% poverty.
Yeah.
Every single penny that folk have after they've paid their bills.
Yeah.
Is go to the football and stuff related to football, go to the pub to watch it. It's just football is life.
Yeah. Do you get a chance to go back down?
Yeah.
Much?
So the last game, I was there on New Year's Day. I sponsored the goalkeeper, so we were in a sandwich, which was quite phenomenal. And that was a huge business thing for me because I remember being little and when we used to go to Roker Park with my dad, and you would look at women in skirts go to the football, going up the stairs to the boxes. You'd be like, oh, how rich do you have to get a box? And it was always my business goal. It wasn't like £1 million turnover. Not that I'm anywhere near that. Yeah. But it was just like having a box.
Getting a box in there.
So I didn't get a box to be the goalkeeper sponsor, but I did get a signed shirt. I did get a shout out.
Yeah.
And I did have to go on the stage with the X-Plane.
I love that there's still that investment in the club as a whole. Even here, when you mentioned Roker Park as opposed to Stadium of Light is a huge thing. For those who are truly in depth with their club, it's that understanding of the history and the path of the club and still having such a strong connection to it. Must still give you a strong connection to home. Almost.
It does, and it's just such a huge pull. So my brother, he lives just outside of London. He's the same. We are so culturally defined by it, and I actually worry for my son because he's obviously half of me and half of his dad, who's from Aberdeen. Where culturally does he feel like he's from? Yeah. And I've obviously been trying since he was born to get him to support something. And it's only in the last few years that he really has warmed to it. And we were just sitting a couple of years ago and I said, we seem to be, he's learned all the songs and everything. Yeah. And he actually just said, I feel like I belong here, which is a huge thing for a 12-year-old from Aberdeen to say when they're sitting in the northeast coast of England. It was absolutely huge. But it is something. And in fact, my husband's the same. He came, I think his first game was last year in the playoff semi-finals to be promoted. And he's just like, I've never felt anything like this ever. It's it's such a vibe.
It's an atmosphere down there.
Oh, it's just life. Everywhere you go in the city, there's murals all over the place. And I mean, God, we only got promoted to the Premiership. It's not like we
Yeah. I know that feeling. I know that feeling. When it was us the year before, I know exactly what that feeling was.
Yeah.
And then we had the very, very sad time the entire time we were in the Premier League. It was fine. We're okay. I know. We're a championship club at heart. I can't help it. I actually said at the start of this season, I was interviewed when they came up here. And they were like, oh, what do you think for our chances of promotion this year? And I was like, I don't want us to go back up. I really don't.
Too painful.
Yeah, I was like, it was too quick for us. It was like League One championship straight in the Premiership. We had no time to adapt or do anything to it. But yeah, I'm like, give me time. Championship's the best league in the world anyway.
Well, I mean, historically, when we've been promoted, we've always been, well, oftentimes, sometimes we've been awful in the Premiership, and there is nothing more soul destroying than going week in, week out to get absolutely pummeled. Yeah. At least when you're in the Championship, your expectations are managed. Yeah. And there's always something. Mm-hmm. I mean, have you been to Wembley?
Yes.
The new Wembley. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, again, different.
It's just a different league altogether. We were there for the game against Wickham where we got promoted from League One to the Championship. And, I mean, we were all crying. The noise, I have never, ever heard a noise. Yeah. We were in a box.
Quite right too.
But we were obviously standing on the platform bit outside of the box, and everybody started singing Wise Men Say. And it was a noise that kind of transcended a noise wave. It then just, I know that all sound waves are vibrations. Yeah, yeah. It was just a thing. Yeah, I've never in my life.
It became something tangible. It wasn't.
I've never felt anything like it ever. Mm-hmm. And I've been to big games before. I've been to massive stadiums. Yeah. I have never felt anything like that. Yeah. And I think that was probably the moment that my son and my brother's kids, who obviously born down south as well, just went, whoa, this is something that we're part of. Yeah, and it is. It's a community that becomes, I think family is probably a bit too of a tired term that a lot of people use for it, but it's a community that just connects to itself. And yeah, okay, football communities do tend to become quite insular. They're very much this is our group and we're going to gatekeep this until we're dead and buried and long past it. But it's such a big thing to be a part of. It is, and I don't feel like we're like that. Yeah. So when we were down for that playoff game last year, we bumped into the guys from the Central Scotland supporters branch, which I had somehow managed to not see for the last 20 odd years that I've been in Scotland. So anyway, we got chatting to them, and they're a mixture of Scottish people who support Sunderland and also people who live up here who are from the northeast. So now we're members of that. But actually, I can use this as an opportunity to get people in Aberdeen to join the Central Scotland supporters branch, because I want to have this little group meeting in Aberdeen. Yeah. So there's one meets in Glasgow, there's one meets in Edinburgh. Mm-hmm. Now there's one that meets in Dundee. Keep coming. I can't get people in Aberdeen. So I know two others who were up for it. Okay. So the three of us, though. That's good. Start. I mean, we've got the derby coming up on the 22nd of March. Surely to God, if you have any ounce of red and white in your blood, you can drag your sorry ass out. Well, the shout out for that, we'll put a shout out beforehand, because I think this episode goes out the first week of April, so hopefully that's a positive response just after it. Can live in hope. We'll see. But again, derbies are just a different... It's just a different league. That is not... It's not anything to do with... It doesn't matter what league you're in either. Like Sunderland in League One at the time of Newcastle in the Premier League, it was still just an evenly matched game regardless, because passion becomes such a big thing. And it's... Even if you've got players who know nothing about it, if it's their first season being involved with it, that energy that you could feel during that time at Wembley, the players start to feel that after a while as well. Yeah. It's such a huge deal. I as much as I don't get along to as much football as I used to, when I was a kid, I used to go along to Pataudry quite regularly with my dad, but it's still something that when I watch the games now, I just go into a completely different world. I'm done. I'm out. I'm zoned out. It's like, for the next 2 hours, you've lost me. Even on the TV, you can feel everything going through. That's what I do, Mason. Every time a derby comes up, I'm like, right, I'm sectioning that weekend off, and I'm going home for it, even if I just go to the pub at the end of my mum's street. Yeah. But unfortunately, the way that this year's panned out, my son's got his Nat 5s. I can't get away. Yeah. So the other game I had lined up, that was the Tottenham game. Mm-hmm. Can't go to that because they've moved it to the Sunday, and he's got an exam on the Monday. So the only hope for a game that I've got, I think now, is Chelsea, which is our last game of the season. Yep. Because nothing else is just stacking up dates-wise. Yeah, it's always the same. How dare real life get in the way of football every so often?
See, now, when you were saying before about, there's not a lot of time for having a social thing outside of it, your passion for stuff still shines through when you talk about any little thing that you are a fan of. And I think that's probably one of the most infectious things about getting to spend time sitting chatting to you now, seeing how much you come alive when you're talking about Marvell, when you're talking about Sunderland, when you're talking about your family. And that's a massive credit to you. Right? You deserve a lot of credit for still having that connection back home, despite being up here for so long and having your business based up here.
It's something that, because it is difficult to move away from home. And obviously I've been away from home since I was 18. But if you haven't got that, I mean, culturally, I'm never going to fit in here. I'm just not from here. That's not to say that I'm not welcomed, to be fair. But you do have to have that thing that levels you, that grounds you. And there's nothing more leveling than a Geordie mouth.
So obviously the football's there. Is there any other activity? Like I say, walking the dog is another thing. Are you a reader? Do you read a lot?
I'm probably, and I'm not just saying this, I'm probably more likely to listen to a podcast.
Okay. Pointed camera, suggestively.
So I do a lot of driving for safety consultancy type of work.
Yeah.
I work a lot in distilleries, so I go up north a lot. I've also got some clients in the Central Belt. So a few times a month I am on a few hour drives all over the place. And when I haven't got TalkSport on, which is frankly most of the time, I would prefer podcasting. On a night, I just can't be bothered to think, to read.
Yeah.
When I go to bed, I'm just
brain done.
Brain dead.
I think the podcast is a big thing for a lot of places now, and a lot of people and a lot of businesses and a lot of brands. And it's something that's not spoken about a lot for brands to have as part of their marketing, as part of their identity, which is a shame because it's a big thing for brands now.
Yeah. I mean, before podcasts, so I work also with SMEs in the sort of technical engineering space and on business development, on marketing type of things. And a few years ago, I was like, you need to be the first to get after this. So we started dipping our toe in doing like a webinar, which I suppose is the precursor to a podcast. And it's just a different way to consume information. I'm not very good at listening to instruction. I have to read something if I'm to follow. But I do like listening in this type of context, particularly if I'm driving or I'm falling asleep. But I think, those people who were the sort of early adopters, it's a marketing stream that most people didn't have at the time.
Yeah, and there's a massive development through the video side of it now as well, because obviously podcasting, and I will always maintain podcasting is first and foremost an audio. It has to be. I mean, the name literally comes from iPod.
Yeah.
iPod and broadcast, it's audio, that's what it is. But even the likes of Apple now have just launched their video aspect that they're doing for their platforms. Spotify has video that goes with it. YouTube is coming massively with consumption of podcasts. It's just...
And if you look at how, I get a kind of heads up from my 15-year-old as to how people currently and will consume information. And that's a great leveler for me because, obviously I'm a couple of generations away from Gen Zs, and some of the ideas that they have are completely and utterly alien to me. And I suppose one of the things that Gen Xers would always have against podcasts was, who the hell has wanted to listen to what you've got to say?
Yeah. Yeah, I think podcasts with a purpose are worthwhile. I think we're in the phase of having too many, as it's dubbed quite often, white men with microphones who like to just sit with their pals and talk nonsense and class it as a podcast and go out. It's like, it's not really the same thing. A podcast has to have a reason. It has to have a purpose for it to be engaging. No one really wants to sit who doesn't know you and just hear you talk about what was happening down the pub at the weekend or what you did last night. Like this, we do this to promote local, to talk about local, because local is our thing. We are massive proponents of everything local, hence all the stuff that goes on behind us. We've got like 8 or 9 different brands now that are all local style stuff that we've got going on. So having that reason to exist is a big thing. So if you're thinking of starting anyone.
I am.
Exactly. We were chatting about it beforehand, so keep your eyes peeled for that coming in the future. There is so much potential in podcasts for business brands and for marketing brands. And even for events as a whole, if it's an annual event that's going on.
Well, what my vision is, so again, it's about, the self-branding and the promotion of my brand, getting people to understand you as a person, to see your passion for their event. But it's about the community building.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to get back to football, but one thing that Sunderland AFC are absolutely, and I think the best in the world at, are community development and brand engagement. And if I could just cut and paste what they do to my own business, it would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's various differences.
Yeah.
I mean, every football club in the land should look at what they did last year. And I think they won an award for the Till the End marketing campaign for the playoffs. But it was just phenomenal. And it's about, the brand, the community is always warm. So they're always engaged to buy.
Yeah.
So they never have to do very much to get the final sale.
Yeah, it's not a hard sell.
It's never a hard sale. And even just something as trivial as we went reasonably early one morning to the club shop to buy the third strip. And somebody dressed in the mascot came out and they had cakes and they were giving cakes away to people in the queue. But the cakes had like black icing on with the cat's eyes that you put at the back of the third top. Just a little thing like that. I already feel valued because somebody's given me a cake. So
you're included. Yeah.
So £300 later in the queue.
So it was worth it for a cake.
Yeah, I mean, it was a desperately nice cake, but that is absolutely not the point.
Yeah.
They recognise, and it looks all, touchy-feely, nice and soft, and we love our people. Of course they do. But actually, it's just expert sales.
Yeah.
It used to be 7 touches to a sale. I think it's probably more than that now.
Yeah.
The community building is effectively a top of your funnel activity for getting people in. So that's why I think, the podcast for me will be about that community development, thought leadership as well, and expertise, positioning your expertise in this area. So for all of those reasons, the podcast is just perfect. And of course they can see you, because I think I will go for the video option.
Yeah.
And the minute that you can put a name to a face and see that, that it's normal.
Well, this is it. It's that, again, it's connection. It's people connecting with people. And, we take in more information, audio, than we do visual. But that visual is what connects the two together. I'll never forget my first experience meeting a radio presenter. And the first thing I says to my dad was, I thought I recognised him off the radio. My dad looking at me across the car park going, what?
It is strange. My husband used to work in the local radio stations, and he's got I was actually saying this to Zara, you've got a radio voice and then your normal voice. Yeah. And it's 2 different personalities.
100%. Which stations did he work in?
Original.
Was he original? Was he up at the old Tullis office before they moved down? The delightful building that was...
I mean, that was, 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I first did a radio course in 2014. And after I just finished that, I actually went up to Originals Studios and was working in the second studio up there, doing some stuff with Martin Ingram and a couple of the other guys on Original. I love local radio. But radio, we spoke about it we had Beth Wallace on recently, who obviously was on Original for a couple of years and is now doing Radio 1 and all sorts with the sports show at the weekends. Radio, people say, is dying. Right? It's not dying, it's changing.
It's just changing.
Yeah. It's becoming things like podcasts. Yeah. It's becoming an alternative way to consume them. You'll have Spotify in your car and a podcast when you're listening to while you're at work or in the background. It's time for businesses to start taking advantage of what that podcast... And it's not the same as buying radio advertising space and having your advert on the radio. A podcast is your chance to create your own advert and have complete creative control over what you're putting out.
Yeah. And I mean, as I've just said, like TalkSport's my favourite radio station. Yeah. If you look at all of the different channels that they have of communication, there's the live station, but then obviously I've got the app, and there's all sorts of different podcasts that sit behind the scenes, and then there's historical radio shows, and there's just everything you could ever possibly want. I don't like noise. So that's talking is just perfect.
I can imagine you just turned up to your own events with things plugged in the ears going, I don't like the noise that's going around me. I've planned all this and booked it all, but please leave me out.
Particularly 2 sources of noise.
Yeah. It becomes, again, it shows the importance of audio though, because too much of it, if people are overwhelmed by things, which I freely admit when I'm in large public spaces, I get overwhelmed. It's not about the people around as such. It's the audio side, because you can have 20 different voices going at the same time. There can be music in the background, and before you know it, your brain just cannot process.
Well, actually, the worst, of course, is when you've got the telly on and your husband is watching films on his phone.
And you're just like...
Ever there was a... That is my stab it moment.
Just seen it in the papers coming up. Local man beheaded by iPad.
Because he was listening to YouTube while she had the telly on.
We're quite bad in our household for we'll have the TV on as like a background thing, but then we'll both start scrolling on our phones. But then we get to the point where it's like,
Get out.
can we just turn the TV off at the very least and we'll not do things back and forth? Or Zara will start playing a game and I'll do something different. Add in a 19-year-old who likes to come in. He now just keeps his headphones in at all times in the house. The only time we see him is meal times, usually, or dog walk times when he's forced to come out. But even when he comes through for a meal, the headphones are in because I know he's going to be watching something.
But mine's just taking his food upstairs, which I vowed would be the very, very, very last thing that I would ever do. However, I am not arguing with a 15-year-old.
No, it's just not worth it. No. It's not worth the fight. Do you have any arguments with the dogs about where they can sit during meal times?
Not at all. You can sit wherever you want.
Excellent. It's what I like to hear. I have so many people who be like, no, the dog has to be in another room. I'm like, my dog's at my feet or sometimes in my lap. Yeah, I was going to say, he likes to sit. So we've just got a 2-seater sofa like you're sitting on just now. And he likes to squeeze himself in between the two of us, although it's this side on me. And he'll do it during meal times. But if I'm eating and Zara's not, he'll kind of lean towards her, but look at me the entire time, just in case there's something that's actually going to fall off the plate and land next to his feet.
Well, I mean, my puppy has now gotten in this bad habit because he knows that he gets whatever we've got left.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they do eat a reasonable amount of human food, but all dog friendly.
Yeah.
So he's just like itching for you to finish your tea.
Do you ever pay the cheese tax? Do you have to regularly pay a cheese tax?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. He's eat quite a lot of cheese. They love spaghetti. And I always get them to do the and they do it.
Well, hey, listen, if you can train your own entertainment in the house, who even needs to put the TV on?
Having 2 dogs.
Yeah. I always thought about having another one, but Derek was a nightmare with the 2 cats I used to have.
Well, so I used to have a cat as well and 2 dogs. I don't think I could just have 1 dog now.
Yeah.
They are more than twice as much work
Yeah.
as one.
Yes.
That's the fact. But the comedy moment
Yeah.
and the togetherness of the 2 of them, even though they're not biologically related, it's just the cuteness level is.
How big an age difference is there between the 2?
So Phoebe's 9 and Leo is 2.
Oh.
No, she's not quite 9. But anyway.
Yeah, thereabouts.
She was young enough when he came along that he wasn't going to be that annoying as a puppy. But he is still quite. Because they're very different personalities.
Yeah, I can imagine. Have you always had dogs?
Yeah.
Like throughout your time?
Yeah, so my first dog as an adult was a boxer. I had 3 boxers. Unfortunately, 2 out of the 3 of them died before they were 9. And I got to a point of I had to put 3 down in 7 years, sorry. Right. My last one, she just died 2 years ago. So we thought that she had epilepsy. But it turns out it was most likely a brain tumour. Oh. We didn't get it diagnosed because it was a trip to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Thousands of pounds. And actually the treatment was exactly the same anyway. She would have been on epilepsy tablets.
Yeah.
So after she had to be put to sleep, she was only 6.
Oh, bless her.
I just went, no more boxers because they're amazing dogs, but they do come with a raft of problem. So I already had 1 Boston Terrier at the time. And I thought, I'll get another one.
I can't imagine a household without animal in it.
No.
Any animal whatsoever. Zara's probably the most animal-focused person I have ever met in my life. Yeah. When we go out for a walk, obviously we take Derek out for a walk around the fields in Garthdee where we stay. And one of the fields has been left to go by the council. So they used to cut it every month. They'd have the big tractor-style things out with the massive cutters behind it. But for a couple of years ago, they says, no, we're going to let it grow because it's for
pollinators.
Yes, and bringing the wildlife back in. And we were like, you're not paying for the money to do it. But on the plus side for us is it has brought a lot of other wildlife around. So we get wild rabbits and stuff coming out in the field. But when the weather's bad, which, let's be fair, it's Aberdeen, quite regular, we get a lot of frogs and toads in that field. Oh. And she loves to pick them up and hold them and help them off of the path and make sure they're safe. I think one night we managed to pick up 11 different frog/toad combinations, and every single one was shown to me, friend, and placed down. And I'm getting to see that, she's in her 30s, by the way. And just everything. She'll do it she found some frog spawn that had accumulated in a puddle in this field. Next morning, we had a tank in our living room because she wanted to make sure they were okay. And she'd gone out with a glass jar and brought them home in this tank. She is obsessed with anything animal related. And I think that tells you a lot about a person.
Oh, it does. I live right on the beach, so every day we're on the beach. And what amazing things about living on the coast is it's so changeable. Every time the tide comes and goes, it's a different outlook.
Yeah.
So my dogs like crabs and fish,
Whatever they can get a hold of.
barnacles.
Yeah. Jellyfish, have they come across those usually?
No, I do keep them off that.
Yeah.
But it's just a totally different, obviously different landscape to the city centre and country, but it's just what you're used to.
Yeah. What part of the city are you in now? You're Newborough. Newborough. Good old Newborough. Have you always been out that way, or were you city centre originally?
So I lived in the city centre for a couple of years when I first moved here, and then did a hop to Belhelvie just because it was such good value. The house.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh, well, Newborough's only a few more miles away. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, in the one hand, it's only, I think, 16 miles.
Yeah.
So you can do it at speed in sort of 25 minutes.
Yeah.
But it does feel a long way away if you've got to get a taxi or you've got to get home at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't change it for the world. It's the most fabulous place.
Well situated for access, I suppose, to Teca and stuff as well, if you get out a bit for events.
It really is no trouble whatsoever. Straight into town. You're not very far from the bypass. You can get north.
Yeah. But you've got a studio work-wise.
Yes, that's in Stony Wood.
Okay.
Yeah.
How often are you in the studio?
Not full time for sure. Probably 3 or 4 days a week.
Okay.
And obviously depending on how busy we are. But I suppose that the point that people miss is, I always say, for every hour that you see us at your event, we've probably done 5 behind the scenes. And this is obviously a lot where the financials go in any event. It's not just, oh, I could buy that off Temu for 50p. Like, well, it's not from Temu because it wouldn't be here after one use. But there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. We have historically done all our own laundry as well. And that takes a huge amount of time.
Oh, God.
So yes, it might just be a chair cover with a bow on it, but there's been a lot going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Everything's obviously got to be packed and then unpacked and dismantled and put away. And, I don't do tidy very well, but I like to surround myself with people who do.
How many people are involved with Marvale as a whole then?
So we do have a bank of people who we rely on for the big events, but day to day, it's me, my husband, and Louise, another person who I have working a few days a week as well.
Yeah. See, it's for the size of events and stuff that you put on, to know that there's just the 3 of you essentially that are full time behind this. Yes, you've got a bank of people and contractors, freelancers, or whatever who can come in and do it, but it's a lot to do still, and for just 3 people to be the driving force behind the creation for it. Yeah,
I mean, realistically, I obviously work more than them. So these helps us with business development, with the socials and things. And it's just really nice to have somebody else to bounce ideas off. My husband being a DJ and event host, that's kind of his area. But I also have people, so, for instance, we don't do the laundry internally now, so all of that goes out. It is a lot of churn of work, but, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, can imagine so. What's the most endearing memory you have from an event that you've put on so far? What's the one standout thing where you go, that's a memory that'll never leave me?
It was probably an event we did last year called BB14, so that's Ben Bradford. So that was a teenage boy who died suddenly a couple of years ago through a kind of like teenage cot death.
Okay.
And through my business network, I heard that they were doing this event for him last October. So because he was around the same age as my son, because he was, football, mad for football, it was just a no-brainer. I'm like, I have to be involved in this. So I contacted his dad, Mike, and then that event. So there was over 800 people at Teca, and he loved James Bond. So everything about the event was absolutely about him.
Yeah.
So James Bond was his favourite, so it was a Casino Royale theme.
Nice.
He loved the Beatles, so there was a Beatles tribute.
Yeah.
His favourite song came on as the last song of the night. There was photos, obviously, throughout the night and some videos, and everybody was just
blown away by it.
Just
Yeah.
You didn't have any words for it, but every single person walked into that room and they were just like, just blown away.
Yeah.
And his family were because obviously they weren't event professionals. They just found themselves in an event management role. It was just an absolute game changer. So, we sponsored that. We're sponsoring it again this year. It's just a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And as long as they've got an event, we will be working with them.
Yeah. See, those kind of memories are definitely what make what you do worthwhile.
It is. And so I think that night raised 113, something like that, £1,000. And they're raising funds to make... I think it's an all-weather pitch, but a pitch in Ben's memory on the south side of town.
Oh, nice.
So every single penny of that goes to, a legacy.
Yeah, and that legacy means a hell of a lot more than people would give credit to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What is one event or one venue for an event that you would want to work at? I mean, there's an obvious answer here, obviously.
What do you think the obvious answer is?
I mean, the obvious answer would be Stadium of Light now.
Well, actually, it's not.
Okay.
It's not. It's the Natural History Museum.
Oh.
Because they have a blue whale skeleton just from the ceiling.
Fair. Can't argue that. I suppose it ties in with the whole, marine biology side of things as well. It's literally just, that's the perfect...
Oh, it's just phenomenal.
What event are you putting on there?
I could do my 50th. It is at the Chester next year, but I mean... If anybody wants a trip down,
why not?
Well, actually, when I was doing my PhD, I was working with one of the, I suppose, curators from the phycology department, so seaweed department. So I did get to go behind the scenes when I was younger.
Yeah.
It's just phenomenal. I mean, I am actually obsessed with the biology part of museums.
Yeah.
The curation of all of these species is absolutely phenomenal.
I want to get back to the zoology building in Aberdeen. It's not somewhere I've been regular. I used to live in Tillydrone, so I was right next to it. And it was one of those where it was right on my doorstep, so I never went.
Oh, it's amazing.
I mean, it's one of those where you're like, it's just, that standard, people in Paris don't go up the Eiffel Tower. It was like that for me. It's like, I'm in Tillydrone, I'm never going to the zoology building. I've never heard Tillydrone and Paris compared to the two, admittedly. That's probably a comparison that I'll never do again. But it was one of those, it was right on my doorstep, so I thought I'd never go to it. It's just there. I kind of miss it because it is a hell of a building.
Oh, it's a phenomenal resource as well, right on everybody's doorstep. So probably it's like Zara, I can't understand why you'd want to be an engineer of innate things.
Yeah.
You can work with animals and plants who you never know what crazy shit they're going to do next.
Everything, things with a life of their own can literally give you so much engagement and involvement.
Even plants.
Yeah. Yeah, we try not to have plants in the house because I'm dangerous.
Mostly I mean seaweed.
Okay, that's fine. Because I'm dangerous. Even
my other thing.
My one plant I always wanted, and it was I freely admit it was a fake plant. I wanted an aloe vera plant because every time I come into the house I want to go aloe vera. I can't help myself. I know it was horrendous, but we finally got one, and I was so happy with it. And the next day I knocked it over and broke it. So I was just like, I can't even have a fake plant in this house without me destroying it. I was putting on my jumper, not paying attention to what I did, whack, and knocked it flying off of the unit that we put it on. And I'd put it in the hallway because I thought this is the smartest place. I'm going to have less interaction with it. Literally 24 hours after I bought the damn thing, and I managed to break it. So yeah, plants are a dangerous thing to have in our house. I'll have the dog. He's just a trip hazard. What's next on the agenda for you for this year then? What have you got coming up this year that you can talk to us about?
So, whilst we have sort of niched locally into this, quite defined brand activation, immersive, larger events, I'm also mindful that, we are reasonably geographically isolated. So if we don't expand our service offering, and we have chosen not to, then we have to expand geographically. Yeah. So I have quite a busy plan for the next 6 months, doing a lot of travelling around. Particularly, we think, there are opportunities in the Central Belt. And I've squeezed North East England into my area.
Close enough.
Interest.
Yeah.
I could go home. Because I was actually talking to, I've got an events business coach, and she's based in Manchester. And she's like, well, why don't you go to the next city and see what they've got? And I'm like, I know every single event space between Edinburgh and, John Groats. And there is no, outside of Tekka, there is no sort of 600-700 plus locations. We are a reasonably small community in terms of how well connected we are. Like, I just know everybody. And obviously being in the metropolis of Manchester, she's also got access to Liverpool, Leeds, big cities with only, a reasonably short drive away. Yeah. So it's a totally different perspective. So I am leaning more into, again, stepping away from sort of wedding networking and more into a business networking. So I started that last year, and really all roads lead to really nailing our messaging and what do we bring differently, because of course there are other event design companies in the Central Belt. I just think we have something slightly different to them, and understanding how we can expand, but it is the footprint that will look to expand. Like I say, we have gone through an awful lot of pain, and I still get up on a morning and go, are you doing the right thing? Is this niche too niche? And then you just keep coming back to, the riches are in the niches. But equally, I'm also mindful that these days, it's very difficult to make your living just from a physical business. So that I do believe that there is something in the online space, which of course any podcast is going to help move along.
That gives you another branch to add into the tree of, your foundation's already there, the tree is growing, now it's which branch continues to whirl out and build your economy around it, I suppose.
Because at the end of the day, whatever anybody says is, you can't sell something to people that they don't want. And if there isn't enough events in this area or in Scotland, that's your limitation financially. And it's just a fact. So other people will say, oh, you haven't got your positioning right, you haven't got your messaging right. And that's why chocolate teapots never took off, because people didn't them.
Exactly. Ashtrays on motorbikes were never going to be a thing. It's just not something that people want or have time for. That's a great point for any person starting a business and looking at what they're doing is, is there a market there for it? Are there people out there who want what you were trying to sell?
At scale.
Do your research before you start. Don't do what we did and sign a lease on an office and start a business before you even had a business in the first place. Admittedly, we're almost a year in. We've survived this far, but, I'll say that was just through sheer blind luck and determination more than anything else. It's more just me stumbling my way through as a personality, being like, hello, I'm here. I'm just going to make the space to do the things. We literally, our first office that we had, I signed a lease on it before we even had a business. We were both still in college at the time.
Well, you've got to take a leap, and I look at myself and think, well, I've had my first limited company since I don't know. No,
the fact that it starts with a 19, well,
No, it doesn't. I don't
Okay.
No, 2005 or 6.
Okay.
So, 20 years with the same limited company, that's actually quite a thing.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So, I must be doing something right.
I would say you're doing quite a few things right. And we're incredibly grateful to you for taking the time out, considering how little time you actually have. If anyone ever learns how to perfect cloning, please let Jill know, because I'm assuming it'll be very, very much needed. But yeah, thank you for taking the time to come on and chat to us. Before we wrap things up, where can people find out more about Marvale, and where can they find you online?
Okay, so I've actually just done a little update on the website to move more into the studio experiential design space. So we are marvelevents.com, on Instagram at Marvel Events and Flowers, and of course Facebook.
Which is still a thing. Yeah, it's still a thing for Facebook. We just created a Facebook page.
Well, to be fair, it auto-populates from Instagram.
Yeah. Meta Business Suite. How you have your uses. Well, there you go. If folks want to find out more and keep up to date with it, I was looking at the website before you came in.
Okay,
So I did. Yeah. Do you know what I try and do is I try and find brand colours for people, and then try and find something that matches for the colour in the background.
Oh, you didn't manage.
No, that was as close as I could get, because I'm like, this thing's so limited on what it can do. It's just like, I go green, it's just doing nothing. I try and change it to blue, it does the thing. It's, even for another variation of green, the next button down, it somehow changes to that.
Well, I do have champagne pink as my secondary brand colour. Oh.
That's as close as I get to a pink. As you can see, I've really invested in expensive, well-tailored lights to what they were doing. The joys of behind the scenes of Season Media. This is how we do. They weren't from Temu either, because again, they would have broke before now. Jill, thank you so much for coming in and chatting to us. It's been an absolute pleasure. I think we will have to get you in for a part 2 later on in the year. Have a bit more of a chat, find out more about how the expansion has gone, how those next 6 months have worked out for you, if you're up for it.
Great.
Yeah, keen to come back down and chat in? Excellent. Sure. Links to find everything about the businesses can be found in the description down below this episode. Don't forget to click like, follow, share, subscribe, do all the things and do all the stuff. If you have any suggestions for future guests, or you want to know more about how to sponsor an episode, I've turned into James Bond myself for this one. I'm now Sean Conroy's version of it. You can email us directly, info@seasonmedialimited.co.uk for the information pack, or you can check out more information about it on our website, seasonmedialimited.co.uk. Thank you very much for watching, listening, however you consumed this. We'll see you for another episode next Monday at 8 a.m. GMT. Bye for now.